cancer treatment in Gauteng remains in the spotlight as we observe Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In fact, this morning, as I mentioned, the AM report is visiting 2 hospitals in the province to look at the state of healthcare facilities there. And that's all, of course, in a bid to take and identify the challenges and treatment options. My co-anchor, Michelle Craig, is currently at Helen Joseph Hospital, and she joins us now live. And Michelle, there's no overstating just how important it is for us to watch this story, especially when you consider the impact that these hospitals not functioning properly has on patients who need them most.
Absolutely. A very good morning to you, Ayanda, in studio, and to our viewers as well. We're live to you, as you say, from Helen Joseph Hospital this morning, more specifically from its breast clinic. I'm going to immediately bring in the Breast Health Foundation Director, Louise Turner, who's joining me here this morning. Louise, I want to get straight to the issues. Good morning, because there are so very many issues that impact cancer treatment in our province, in Gauteng. Tell us about the Breast Health Foundation and the work that it does, having had departed now from Helen Joseph Breast Clinic.
So the Breast Health Foundation, our primary focus is patient care and navigation. We've been open since 2002. All of our team are breast cancer survivors themselves. So in a situation like this or any other clinic we work in, we've experienced the journey. We've been diagnosed, we've been through treatment. And for the past 17 years, we have been counseling the patients on diagnosis, helping them understand what a cancer treatment is, what processes they are going through, and basically being a helping hand. We're an oasis in the desert because they can see people who have been through cancer, breast cancer in particular, who've survived and are thriving. And our primary focus is to help those people.
So obviously fulfilling an incredibly important role. Why the decision to leave Helen Joseph Breast Cancer Clinic?
You know, walking up the ramp this morning, I felt a little bit sad and nostalgic because I was here every single Thursday helping patients. And with the current circumstances within the hospital and the lack of patient care due to various reasons, lack of stock, patients not fitting into the catchment area, etc., when Professor Ben decided to leave, we, in solidarity with her, made the decision to withdraw our services as well. And it breaks my heart because I know there are patients here that desperately need our help. So even though we're not on site, we are still available to them telephonically through the cancer network because they all chat to each other eventually because of treatment. So we are available to them. We're just not here the minute they get diagnosed.
Okay, give us a sense of the state of, let's talk specifically about breast cancer and its treatment options here in Gauteng. We're visiting Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital a little later on this morning as well. But if I am in need of radiation as a breast cancer sufferer in Gauteng, when will I get to the top of that waiting list for treatment?
Those currently on the waiting list, which is up to 3 years, will never get to the top of the waiting list because they've passed their window of receiving radiation treatment. You have to have it within 3 months of surgery. So those people are never going to get to the top. The only way they will get radiation is if they come in and have a recurrence of their cancer. Then they go to the top of the list. And that's the sad thing. There are many, many patients who have passed away in the last 3 years, breast cancer, where they've had a recurrence and never got treatment.
Where they could have survived.
They would have survived if they got radiation treatment. And the sad thing is when you go through that waiting list and you phone and you phone and you phone and nobody answers, the only conclusion we can come to is that patient has passed.
There's a new CEO at Helen Joseph Hospital. Is she, to your knowledge, aware of the scope of the problem?
You know, lovely lady, I've spoken to her once. I think she's walked into a rat's nest in this hospital because of the patriarchal systems, the difficult way of accessing senior management and the CEO. You've got to follow a process in government protocols. So I feel for her at the moment. This was one of the best clinics in the country. It's world-renowned, not only in South Africa. Patients come from everywhere because of the services that were offered here under the hospital. And yes, I feel for her. She has a rat's nest and she's going to have to weed through all the problems in senior management in this hospital. When Professor Ben spoke to her And the first time, she was not aware of the reasons for resignation. She was not aware of what had been happening over this year in particular, and the battering and bullying of Prof, which indirectly affects us as well, which directly affects patient care at the end of the day.
Lives at risk. Louise Turner, let me thank you for your time this morning, giving us a sense, just really scratching the surface of what's unfolding insofar as breast cancer treatment in our province is concerned. Louise Turner is the director of the Breast Health Foundation, which has now departed from Helen Joseph Hospital, and we're going to try and give you a sense of exactly why that has happened. Ayanda, we continue with our coverage around the state of cancer treatment in our province over the next few hours that we'll be here. For now, I want to just get the Sowetan newspaper from our producer, Lopang Mokai, who's here with me at Helen Joseph Hospital. Ayanda, you talked about yet another crisis in our country. You've talked about water, electricity. We've just talked about the crisis of cancer treatment, specifically in Gauteng. Here's another crisis for you on the front page of the Sowetan this morning. South Africa, a shameful kiddies death factory. How many more, asks the Sowetan newspaper, must die? And of course, this is as a follow-on story insofar as the murder of Bokgabo Po, that 4-year-old little girl, beautiful little girl, whose body was found dismembered just earlier this week. I believe it was over the weekend. Her alleged killer appearing in court just yesterday. But look at the front page there. The faces of children, young women and boys who have been killed in our country. The Sowetan saying some not even a year old were murdered in the first half of this year. Another crisis unfolding in South Africa. Ayanda?
Yeah, really devastating, the front page of the Sowetan as we continue with our paper run. For now, Michelle, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there from Helen Joseph Hospital as we continue also tracking just how much the health system, specifically in Gauteng, continues in many instances to disappoint the people who need it most. Once again, Michelle, thanks very much indeed.